the cloud. Yes, okay, good. And now I'm gonna go live on Facebook, share to the Connect group. All right, I don't see anyone here on Zoom yet. All right, well, it says I'm streaming live on Facebook. It's not quite yet updated on my screen. Let's see, there we go. All right. So, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Hangout. Today is going to be a live Q&A with me, and I decided to do this because I have been seeing so many posts come through the group, so I thought maybe we would do a collaborative session where I come on and answer a lot of questions. It seems like you guys have some burning ones. Everyone's going through the course material and coming up with really great questions, which I love. And I don't know about you, but sometimes for me, it's just better to answer the question in talking. I talk much faster than I type. So when I go through the group and I see that there's a lot of questions, I'm always figuring out how can I make a video where I can answer the question for you. Hey, Samantha, welcome. Thanks for joining. Anybody else that's watching, say hello. Say hello to me. Let me know that you're here. Of course, if you have a question, feel free to post it. I do have 3 questions submitted. 3 questions submitted. So I'll answer those first, but anything else that comes in the comments, and then maybe I'll just do an office hours kind of scroll of the group to see what else you guys have going on, what questions that you have, but I'm really excited that you're here. Let me see if anybody's watching on Zoom or if everyone is just watching on Facebook right now. Oh, I see one person that has come on Zoom. Okay, well, hello to our Zoom folks as well as our Facebook Live folks. What do you guys think? I just wanted to show off our Social Media Pro shirts. How cool are those? And of course, are you guys watching the Social Media Day Summit? Oh my gosh, I know there's a session happening right now, but you can catch the replay, of course. And then there are 2 more fabulous sessions coming up later today. And it's not over. We still have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the summit. So I'm funky up with my computer. socialmediadaysummit.com. Share my screen here. Love that I can do that on Facebook Live by using the Zoom technology. So right now, Jeff DeHaven is up talking about branding and brand storytelling. Later today, blogging strategies and content planning. You guys have seen some of those. Tomorrow we have a really cool new one with eRock, social lead generation strategies. You guys probably also haven't seen YouTube for Business. That's really a new one. And not to just keep going on and on about it, if you guys don't know, I'm super excited. But I do have probably 2 bonus sessions coming out before the end of the summit as well that I don't know if you guys have seen yet. So one of the reasons that you should join is there were lots of perks that people were giving away. There's a perk from Thinkific. There's a I guess I should have kept sharing my screen, so let's do that. Just getting the housekeeping out of the way first. So we're giving away a lifetime pass to Social Media Pro to someone that's watching and engaging in the summit. We're also, Thinkific has donated a 1 year free of Thinkific Pro. Agora Pulse will win 1 year free of Agora Pulse. We use that. Miss Doreen loves and swears by Agora Pulse, so that's what we use here at Social Media Pro for all of our scheduling and distributing of our content. And then our other sponsor, Biz Famous, is giving away lifetime access to, lifetime access, not even just 1 year, but a lifetime access to their software. So that is the session if you want to hear about that software. That session is tomorrow at noon. So check out that session. And of course, when you register, if you attend the session, you'll be entered to win that year of access to his really cool software. Okay, so that's enough of the housekeeping. Thanks for, Leanne is here too. Hey, Leanne, great to see you. All right, so let's answer some questions. The first question that I got was from Jay. All right, Jay asks, Kate, do you have any scripted response for clients who reply with the strategy is too expensive? I want to be prepared, but I'm not quite sure of the best approach. I would normally ask how much you can afford. So this is a good question because the strategy is a little bit higher priced product that you're going to sell, right? And the reason, and we actually did have this question. So we have a client right now that we provide, or Jesse is providing some advertising services for, and they wanted to do some strategy with us, and they came back and asked us, why was our strategy and consulting fees higher than our done for you fees, right? Why was it so expensive? And the answer is because when you're doing a strategy, you're actually teaching them the skills and you're teaching them your intellectual property so that they can go and implement on their own and they don't need to hire you. So you're essentially, there's a good example of, what is it? Teach a man to fish and you can feed him for a lifetime or something like that, right? So the idea is if you hire me to implement for you, then all of that information and knowledge stays over here in my brain and I implement it and I just produce the result for you. So you're getting the result without knowing how. In the training, Jesse teaches the IBR, intention, behavior, result. And so together with the client, you figure out the intention, and you come up with what result you want to produce, but then the behavior, it's kind of making a little B down here, I don't know, that's just what he teaches. Oh no, it goes this way, maybe sideways. The behavior is what I do in order to produce the result, and quite frankly, one of the easiest ways to say is that it's just none of your business. It's none of the client's business what the behavior is. That's not what they're paying for in a done for you package. They are paying for the result. So the result is theirs. They own the result. That's their result. They get to keep those leads. They get to keep those sales. They get to keep those fans on their Facebook page, right? They get to keep those followers on Instagram because they're paying for the result. But they are not paying for the information about how to produce that result on their own. That's what strategy is. So of course, that's going to be more expensive, because I'm giving the information to you and then you don't need to hire me to do it. You can do it on your own. So if you paid me, let's say $1,000 or $1,500 a month to manage your Facebook and your Instagram for you, then over the course of a year, let's go with 1,000 so that I can do math easily. That contract is worth $1,200 to me. right? But if I spend 1 or 2 or 3 months teaching you, let's just say I spend 1 month teaching you how to do it yourself, well, now you don't need me for the rest of the year. So I'm cheating myself a little bit out of business. So of course, the value to you as a business is at least $12,000, right? If you were able to take what I would have done and do it yourself, then you just saved yourself, or, you know, the value to you is $12,000. But you're not going to pay me $12,000 to teach you how to do Facebook, at least depending on, not to a business that is only going to pay $1,000 a month. So let's be clear, there are plenty of businesses that will pay $12,000 or more to learn how to do this on their own. But that's not the type of business I'm talking about. The same one that's willing to spend $1,000 a month is not. So I have to kind of come up with something that makes it worth it to me to teach and do that training. And one of the ways I do that is by charging more than what I would charge to do it for you. So you're looking at, usually a good barometer there is about 3 months. 3 months of what you would charge for done for you is a good place to kind of start with throwing out what you would charge for the consulting. Okay, at least I'm getting myself a 3-month type contract, but I'm getting it all in 1 month because I'm doing the training. So in that case, I would charge for the strategy $3,000 as a place to start. Now I realize I haven't even fully answered Jay's question yet, because first of all, I have to get you to understand the justification for why that is your price to begin with. And you need to feel really confident about putting that out there in that way. Businesses are always trying to save a buck here or there. So you can't really fault them for asking, but at the same time, it's also your job to show up with confidence and know your value and know why you charge that so that you can put it back to them. And in an example that I gave you about our client, they are another agency. So not only are we teaching them how to do the strategy for themselves, but they're a digital marketing agency. They don't focus on social media. So we also know that this is something that they can then turn around and sell to their clients, right? It's a possibility that they'll learn our systems and then begin to sell, and they could make potentially a lot of money off of learning what we do. So really clear answer of no, this is really valuable to your business. And when you put it back on them that way, you know, if somebody is a local business and let's say they're even just like a restaurant, or let's call it pizza joint, right? And they make the best pizza in town. Well, what would you charge me to just deliver me a pizza or to make a pizza for me? That's one price. But how much would you charge if I said I wanted to come in and I wanted you to teach me how to make the pizza myself? So never have to order pizza from you ever again. Is the price the same? No, it's not the same. And what if in our example, which is extreme, even on top of that, what if I'm another pizza joint, or maybe I'm an Italian restaurant, I don't sell pizza yet, and I want you to teach me everything you know about how to make the best pizza ever? What's the price of that? Now when I'm talking in the examples, you really start to see that a strategy is a very powerful thing to deliver to a client, and it can have a big impact on their business, even though it seems like you're just doing something one time. And, you know, there's all these things that they try to make it seem like it's not as valuable as it is. So if you throw out, so to answer the question, what do you say if they say that it's too much? Well, first, another thing to know is that in the beginning, when you started to do the interview process with them, when you started to question them about what their motives were, when you started to work with them about what their objectives were, you know, what they want to accomplish out of their social media marketing. You also were asking questions about what have they done in the past, and you should have gotten a good idea of how much they're spending already. Maybe that's on their ads, or maybe that was for a person to implement, you know, on staff inside the organization. Or maybe they've had a budget on other advertising or marketing avenues, like maybe they were using Groupon, or maybe they've had a Yellow Page ad, or maybe they've been paying for banner ads on other sites, or have they been, you know, what marketing budget, what have they been doing? And a lot of people, like Jay, you said, you may just come straight out and ask them, well, what's your budget, right? But sometimes we struggle with asking that question, or it feels awkward. It's like asking somebody, you know, how much money they make or whatever it is. If you feel uncomfortable with that, don't worry. You need to ask. You can just get around it by asking questions about what have they been spending in the past. I'm not asking you necessarily yet what you're willing to spend in the future, but if you ask them, what have they done in the past? What worked? What didn't work? And what were the expenses involved with that? And what was the return? You start to get a sense of, oh, well, for the last 5 years, he's paid $1,000 a month for this, or he had Sally at $500 a month, or maybe it's even more than that, right? I'm just trying to give numbers and think in my head of talking to somebody who's going to have a problem with how much you're charging for the strategy. So if you're unwilling to really ask for the exact, well, what are you willing to spend? You might want to start with just finding out how much they've spent in the past, and you can do those calculations in your head all on your own, right? So just letting you know, Samantha, I see your question. Thanks for the kudos, Tina. Always good to see you here. Right? So you already kind of have that idea in your head. So if I already have just done that in my consultation, then I know how much I can possibly charge. So right before this call, I just got off of an immersion call with a new client that I'm doing a strategy for next month. And in our original consultation, we just started talking about if they were going to hire somebody to do this, you know, was I going to help them find somebody, or was it going to be me, or what actions and activities would the social media manager do? And it really just came out naturally that she feels like she has about up to $2,000 a month to spend on hiring someone to do this role. So immediately I knew what her budget was, and my recommendation to her was, before she hired someone, to get a strategy in place so that she can find somebody that will do a lot of work for that $2,000 a month, but following a strategy. That was the most effective way for her to do it, rather than hiring somebody like me, spending $2,000 a month, but getting really only 1 or 2 platforms managed, and with no money of that going to an ad spend. She's really not in a place that she can do that. So she needs to hire a more junior social media manager to do the implementation for her, so they can spend maybe like $500 a month on ads, and then pay the person kind of part-time-ish, $1,500 a month, but get a couple of good platforms, maybe get a blog post, you know, all of these things. So that's not going to work in our business for me to be that person. However, the downside of going out and hiring a junior community manager is that they're not a strategist, right? So another benefit of doing it this way is that she can get the strategy from me, and then we can find somebody else to do the implementation. I can even possibly train that person. There's other opportunities. So it came out naturally just in conversation, because I was trying to figure out how to help. If you go to your consultations with the how can I help you, that's my answer. Whenever anybody says to me, I want to talk to you about social media, or I need to hire someone in social media and they're reaching out, my question is, absolutely, let's hop on the phone, let's chat, let me see if I can help you, and if I can't, I can point you in the right direction. So I've already set it up that this is not a sales call, this is not a strategy session, this is just me listening to you talk and ask questions, listening to your answers, and trying to figure out how can I best point you in the right direction. And this strategy I just took on is a perfect example. I knew they were a nonprofit, and I knew that they couldn't afford me, but she's a nice lady. I've met her several times, and I just wanted to help her. this is what you should be doing with your potential clients. Let me just help you. No strings attached. P.S. That's a very attractive way to be energetically with people, is not like desperate, yes, I so want to meet with you because, I really need a client. Like, come on in, let me tell you about my packages, and I really can help you, and I know I'm the person, and, I've seen what you're up to, and no, that energy is not as attractive as the, hey, sure, let me pop on the phone. I don't know if I'm the person that can help you, but let me hear, and if not, I have a lot of resources, and I can probably point you in the right direction. Sometimes those calls end up going to my online program. Sometimes those calls get referrals to the guy sitting on the other side of the door, which is Jesse, because the best thing that they need is advertising, and it's not organic, right? I think the last 2 months or something, maybe even 3 months, it seemed like I was on this trend that everybody that I spoke to, I was referring to Jesse, but that's what was best for them, yeah? And with this person, I just wanted to help her sort out how she was gonna find someone to hire. And at the end of it, she really just, wanted to work with me. She was the one who said, no, I really want to hire you. I want you to do the strategy. Let's do the 1 month strategy. So even though I normally charge $2,500 for those strategies, I already knew her monthly budget was $2,000, and she's her nonprofit is really awesome. So I gave her a great rate. And I know that I can do it in a short amount of time. And I want to leave some room for maybe next month to do some implementation and training of her team, or help her to find and hire the person. So again, I know I've been talking and I still really haven't even answered the questions. What happens when you throw the number out and they say it's too much? Well, the first thing that you might say is like, got that. When you throw out the number, you don't want to ever be throwing out your number that's already your lowest number. I learned that lesson the hard way. So you need to throw out a number that's higher than what you would normally, like what you're willing to take for the job. This is with everything, because now you've given yourself room to negotiate. I just want to check the comments here. Yeah, you always want to leave yourself wiggle room to negotiate. So the first thing that you do is, Jay, if you've already given your lowest price and they say it's too expensive, then you have zero room to negotiate with them. So never do that. The benefit of doing it this way also is that, hey, if they just say yes, then you're pleasantly surprised and you get extra money, right? And then now you know, and that will help you for the next time, that you're continuously going to be increasing the value that you are, now you have a new price point, right, that you didn't expect. Because if someone's willing to pay, when you get 3 yeses to a higher price point than what you think it's worth, that's your new price point, and then you need to go to, that's your new baseline, and now you need to go and add $500 or add 10% or add 20% or whatever. So first of all, if you've given yourself wiggle room, then if they say it's too expensive, you can offer a fast action bonus or fast action discount, which is if they sign up today, or if something, that you'll give them a discount. So, okay, I got that totally. Well, what I can do for you is, if this is something you really want to do and you're ready to take action today, but the price is just a little bit too high, if you sign up today, or if you sign up for 6 months, or if you sign up for, that, I can offer you this at a little bit lower rate. And now, because you've started out higher than you wanted to be, you can take off 10%, 15%, 20%, something like that. At the same time, you may also pull out some different elements, like, okay, well, I could do it for you, but I'm going to do it at this rate. And because I'm going to do it at this rate, I'm just going to not do this one activity. Excuse me, I need to sneeze. Okay, just didn't want to do that on camera, right? So you could also pull out and say, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to focus on Facebook, right? So I'll do the strategy for you, but I'm just going to put my Facebook strategy together for you. I'm not going to talk about the other platforms, or I'm just going to focus on Instagram. Like I'll just do one platform, and then you can reduce the rate as well. So that's a good opportunity. Also, actually, this came out in the session with E-Rock of Biz Famous that I mentioned that's going to happen tomorrow. And it's a session that we just recorded this week, so you guys have not seen it in Connect. Is he talks about always having an either or. So having a high ticket, which is your strategy, and then having something low ticket to offer. So you always come out of the gate with your higher ticket first because it kind of sets the bar for the value that you provide, and then you can always offer a lower cost alternative. So maybe instead of doing a full strategy, you could also have a package in your back pocket that you offer that is a profile makeover, maybe just some graphics and some optimization of their profiles across social media, not a full strategy. Or maybe you could create some graphics kits, like the little quotes, maybe get 3 or 4 templates made in Canva for them, and you might charge only $200-300 for that. So you've offered them a strategy at $1,000, and it might have been too much. So you have this other option of like, well, okay, I won't do the full strategy for you, but I'll create 1 month's worth of graphics with quotes that you can reuse. I'll create like a month's worth of, or I'll redo all your cover images so that they follow the best practices, or I'll do a makeover of all your social profiles and I'll charge $300 for that. So that you're still selling them something. Again, having a little web training like the stuff that I do here with Social Media Pro, or videos that they can watch instead, is a great option. So maybe you spend a day and you create 1, 2, 3, or 4 little videos about how to audit their presence themselves and how to create a strategy on their own. And then you can sell that to them for like $100 or something. Okay, you can't do the strategy, that's great, but maybe you want to do it yourself, which is totally fine. I have a series of 3 videos that'll walk you through the process to help guide you around creating your own strategy or having your in-house social media manager, right? Work on the strategy for you, and I'll give you access to those for $100, right? A guy that is a faculty member, or was a founding faculty member and now kind of does his own thing, Kurt Molly, talked about having 3 opportunities for people: done for you, which means I do everything, done with you, which is like where I guide you and help you, so that's like consulting, and then DIY, where you do it, the DIY solution, which is you do it, all on your own, and maybe in that case it's videos or something like that support you, right? So you just get training in one, you get consulting in the other, and then it gets completely off your plate. And of course, the price, goes up the more work that you're, or the more value that you're providing. So that's my answer, very long-winded answer to number 1. I'm gonna come over here and see what's happening in our chat and anything on Zoom. All right, good. So let me answer the second question. So let's move on to the second question. Terrence posted this. Jesse gave a brief answer. Okay. And then Joe is asking about the shop tab on a Facebook page. Used to be a way to showcase products, and then you could take visitors to your own website. Now it seems like you can only set up a shop tab if you want to sell right on Facebook and have Facebook collect the money. Is there a way to still do it the old way? Showcase your products like books on the shop tab with a price, but then take people to your own website. I think the way to do that is with the services tab. So I think instead of using a shop tab, that you use the hold on. So let's look together because I'm actually not certain. Do, 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 do. Ours isn't set up. Your sales will be sent to your preferred bank account. Yeah. So I think there is one called the services tab. Yep. I'm going to share my screen again. So to answer your question, Joe, is the shop tab, it does look like you need to sign up for payments. And I don't know if that's forced because I haven't really gone through the whole process. But now if you come down to services, you know, it's a workaround anyway. So you can add the price and add the photos. And then in the description, I would probably put a link to my website. So that would be the workaround that I would do for that. If anyone else has a great workaround, I'd love to hear it in the comments, or if anybody knows the answer to that question, please feel free to answer in the group. So awesome mindset. Samantha is our gold star engager for this, is the gold star engager for this hangout. And then number 2, Terrence posted, Jesse and Doreen have answered about targeting. I'm gonna let Jesse take that one because it's about ads targeting and he is the specialist there. So let's see, I think Samantha has a question, which was, oh my gosh, where did it go? Did I answer it and did you delete it? Or am I just not seeing it? Here we go. Have to open the video. Do you always recommend getting full payment before services are rendered, especially for a new client? The answer is yes, if possible, for sure. So in a bigger, higher priced product like a strategy, I am also willing to take a split payment because the delivery is later, right? So we had our consultation call today. So I could have taken half now, and then the delivery of the strategy is going to happen in a week or two. And so she could pay the rest of it before I deliver the full final strategy. So that was definitely an option. But ideally, you want to get paid ahead of time. If you're just starting out and you feel like the client is just absolutely not going to pay you until the work is done because they have that more traditional mindset of hourly employees and getting paid in arrears. You know, we've all had to take on clients like that from time to time, but it is inevitable that you will run into the situation that you do work and you don't get paid. And when I talk to clients, if they ask me, I mean, that's what I'm going to tell them because it's just true. And in that case, I'm dealing with following up with them and trying to get paid later, or I have to deal with it on my taxes as a loss of income, which is how I do it. In the big group, if you post and you ask about it, a lot of people will tell you stuff like small claims court or collections agencies. They do a lot of things to try to recover. Depending on the amount of money, I might try those things, although I have to tell you, I never have. It's happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times in my entire career, and there's a way to write it off and get a deduction on your taxes. for non-payment. And so that's the route that I take, because rather than fighting someone for money, I'd rather use my energy to go out and get the next client. But the best way to avoid that is to just get paid up front. We even use a shopping cart system that when they pay, they're in a contract, and it's like Netflix. We automatically deduct their next payment using Stripe in 30 days, right? So they are in a 30-day contract or 30-day cycle with us, and their card is going to get dinged for the duration that they work with us every 30 days. If that's a deal breaker for a client, you have to decide for yourself if you're willing to take the risk. And it might be beneficial if you can work out something where they give you a deposit up front so that you know that they're invested on some level, and then you can get the rest of the money upon completion of the project. However, do not fully turn everything over, including passwords and documentation and everything, until you receive payment first. So I might hop on a call and talk a little bit about what they're going to get delivered, but I won't actually send anything to them until I get paid. Jesse, on the other hand, even with our current clients that we know are good for it, if they want to start a new project, he will not hop on the phone with them until the money is in the bank for that new project. So this is something that as your authority grows and your experience grows and your expertise grows, that you can be a little bit more demanding about. In the beginning, you know, that's your ideal situation, but it's not necessarily, you know, you got to work it out for yourself. I just wanted to give a shout out to Rain, who I believe is on the Hangout. She had a meeting last Friday with a local two-year college and was asking for some advice. And then she said the meeting went really good and she's delivering a proposal today. So that's awesome to hear. Congratulations. I also wanted to mention those of you who posted on our thread. I posted a video. And if you guys haven't seen it, I recommend that you watch it. So I'll grab the URL and let me share my screen again. So I posted this video, and I'll grab the link and bring it over to our Hangout. So you can see it. But I was basically saying that you guys, I wanted to hear what you were going to do this week to get out and to be in action around your business, instead of just, you know, hanging out and learning and answering questions. So Todd commented with his awesome weekly plan. Yay, Todd. So I'd love to hear the follow-up, since it's Thursday now, moving into Friday, about how that weekly or how that plan went. Jay has some results, and I'd love to hear anybody else that's watching or listening, if you haven't commented on this thread with what you're working on. The idea is that you've really got to be in action. Terrence is talking to 2 people per week. That's really awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Jade, I even posted because I had just landed a client. So, you know, I'm here doing the work with you guys. And Kelly Murphy is sending out email blasts. So I thought this thread was really great, number one, because of course I want to hold you accountable and make sure that you are doing the things to actually go out and get the clients, because otherwise learning and asking questions and hanging out in our Facebook group is awesome, but if you never get a client, then you never actually put that information into action. So number one was to keep you accountable. 2 was to celebrate your wins. Yeah, because it's important that we celebrate the things that we do that are awesome, or when we do get clients, or when we do take those actions. Whether we got a yes or no, it's still a win that we took the action and that we're doing it consistently. so that we don't come back in a month or two and say, well, I don't have any clients. And it's like, well, what have you been doing for the last 2 months to get clients? And number 3, what I thought was cool about it was there's lots of ideas on there. So if you are not using one of the strategies that someone else mentioned, then I highly recommend you check out that thread and ethically steal one of those strategies and go implement it for yourself. Yeah. If you have some email contacts, if you have some partners, if you have some meetups to go ahead and steal someone's idea and go implement it. Don't be shy. So, Jesse does not play about his coins. That is very, very true. So I don't see any more. Questions coming in, and if that's the case, I have rambled on about just two or three questions for about 45 minutes, or at least 40 minutes, which is pretty long time, but I am really good at BSing. So I'm really good at wanting to share with you guys everything fully. So I have a lot to say about every question that you ask. You might be familiar with that because of the fact that you've listened to me for hours and hours and hours on end in the training. And I really just want to make sure the reason I explain so much and I go backwards and answer the question of things you can do before you get to that point, and then give you 8 options of things you can do after that point, it's because I really want you to understand the whole picture. And if I just answer the question, sometimes there's 4 steps ahead of that you could have done to avoid the question in the first place. And so I want to give you all that information. And that's generally why I am an oversharer, especially when it comes to answering questions or training content, because the more you know, the more comfortable you feel, the more you set yourself up before you get to the having to answer that question, the better off you're going to be. So on that note, I am going to go ahead and sign off for the day. I will peruse through the group and see if there are any more questions that come in. And please check out the summit, especially those sessions that are new, if you haven't. And also, we'd love it if you would share it out. You can tweet about it, use the hashtag SMDaySummit, share it with your networks, share it on your Facebook pages. We'd love your support with that. And yeah, we will. Thanks for your great feedback, Samantha. Thanks for being here. I feel like we almost had a little one-on-one. Oh, wait, I see another question coming in from Zoom. Okay, good. So I'm just starting out in my business. I'm looking for recommendations for a program to better communicate with my new client. They would like to pre-approve the posts before they are published. What is the best way to share that info with clients? Great. Well, one of the things that you can do is use the draft functionality. If you're posting directly in the platforms, you can create a draft, and then your client can go in and actually approve and schedule the posts at the time that they want to see them. Another very simple, low-tech way is to create all of your posts in a spreadsheet or a Google Doc and send them to the client that way before you upload and schedule them. And then lots of the tools that are out there, like Agorapulse, which we mentioned, Hootsuite, and also another favorite of mine is called CoSchedule. Those 3 tools will allow you to do the same thing, is to create the posts, schedule them out, but leave them saved as a draft. And then your client can go behind and approve them, and once they like them or edit them, and then they can go out. So check out Hootsuite, Agorapulse, or CoSchedule, and those tools obviously would be at the expense of the client. And if they don't want to invest in a tool to facilitate, your other options are 1, to do it natively on the Facebook platform you can schedule, or 2, create all your posts and put them into some kind of Google Doc or a spreadsheet and send that to the client for approval. What you want to create, so here's the extra information, what you want to be sure with a client like that is that you're moving them methodically along so that at some point in time, you get signed off on, look, they're approving your posts 95, 90% of the time, and the other 10%, it's small errors. So you get signed off to post on your own. So what that means is that maybe the first month or first couple of weeks, they approve everything. And then as they see and build the confidence in you about your posting abilities, you eventually want to wean them off of that system, right? Once you've proven that you can speak in the voice and you can post, you know, without this approval process, because that's really going to slow down your work flow, right? Even if you're only posting a couple of times a week on, like, let's say 3 times a week, the idea is when you sit down to do the posts, you know, if you can, and you're doing it maybe for all your clients at one time, if you have this one client that you have to send for approval, then you have to go back and schedule. It's starting to get out of flow. So I understand that clients want to do that up front, but one of the things to keep in mind is that you want to talk to them about, this is great, I'm willing to do this, but let's have a system by where at some point you're going to sign off that I am approved to post once I have proven to you that my posts don't need a lot of edits or corrections. Okay? I hope that was helpful to you. That question came in via the Zoom call. And I'm checking one more time in the group for any other questions in the thread, and I don't see any. So with that, I will wrap up today's call. See you guys on the next Q&A hangout. Excuse me, keep those questions coming. Jesse and I and Doreen and Wednesday, the whole team, we're always available to answer questions. And of course, you are here to help your fellow students answer questions, and in return, they will help you with their suggestions. So takeaways from this call are, check out the Monday thread and either post and comment on it or just at least watch that video. 2 is keep your questions coming in the group. We love the interaction, and we will see you on the next hangout. Oh, and 3, so share the social media day summit. Yes, that was housekeeping number 3. All right, bye everybody. Have a great weekend.